Good day everyone, I am Novie Gail and for today's video reflection is all about essential concept of special education. And there are 14 categories of students with disabilities under IDEA or Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, the federal law that guides how early intervention and special education services are provided to infants, toddlers, children, and youth with disabilities. So, I will share my insights including various strategies that will address in every disability. So, let's start with intellectual disability. Children and youth with this disability have certain limitations in mental functioning and skills such as communicating, taking care of him or herself, and social skills. They are likely to have trouble learning in school because these limitations will cause a child to learn and develop more slowly than a typical child. The strategies that need to address of every student with these disabilities, first and foremost, have patience. Go step by step, provide assistance as necessary, provide functional activities such as gardening and painting, provide immediate and positive feedback, and help the students learn life skills. With that, they are engaged in life skills as well as in social skills, which include health and safety, personal hygiene, manners, getting along with others, basic math and reading, money management, and skills for the workplace. Next category is deaf blindness. This disability in which an individual has combined hearing and vision loss that affects a person's ability to communicate, access information, and get around. When these senses are absent, distorted, or diminished, educators and family must be alternative strategies to support learning. They require special attention. Thus, teachers should have patience and willingness to find a way to communicate that serve as their best tool. They should use tactile learning, hand-to-hand interaction or sign language, and provide the right tools to learn and offering them such as Braille, large print, textbook, etc. Next is specific learning disability. A specific learning disability is a disorder that interferes with the student's abilities to think, listen, speak, write, spell, or do mathematical calculations. A specific learning disability, also known as dyslexia, in writing also known as dysgraphia, and in mathematical it is also known as dyscalculia. The strategies that need to apply, teachers should break learning tasks into a small step, use direct and simple instructions, allow time for students to process requests and allow them to ask questions, and present activities that involve all sensory modalities, auditory, visual, tactile, and kinesthetic. All of these have a great benefits on students with these disabilities to meet their needs and difficulties in reading and writing and mathematical calculations. Next is deafness, an ability to comprehend verbal language due to a lack of hearing ability can cause delays in the development of communication skills in terms of both receptive and expressive skills, and delays in receiving learning materials. The strategies that need to address to children with this disability has support them with text-to-speech assistive technology or assistive listening device, provide note taker, ensure that any background noise is minimized, and provide written materials to supplement all lectures, tutorials, and laboratory sessions as well as in some activities, assignments, and other announcements. Next is developmental delay. Refers to a child aged 3 through 9 has not gained the developmental skills expected of him or her compared to others of the same age. Delays may occur in the areas of motor function, speech and language, cognitive, play, and social skills. The strategies that needs to address are engage them into physical activities for times when the student has the most energy, like simple fun obstacle courses that the student is capable of completing. Provide daily opportunities and activities for children to use handheld tools and objects like blocks, clay, papers, pencils, crayons, Play-Doh, and other manipulated to use. Use the students' preferences and interests to build attempts. Get input from parents. Reinforce communication attempts, example their gestures, partial verbalizations when the student is non-verbal or emerging verbal. Provide opportunities for students to interact directly with each other and explicitly teach life skills related to daily living and self-care. Moving on to the other health impairment. These are conditions that have limited strength, vitality, or alertness due to chronic health problems, and an educational performance that is negatively affected as a result, and mostly students' troubles due to their ADHD, which leads to a lack of concentration. These symptoms may affect a student's ability to interact with their peers, complete assignments, follow teacher directions, and perform well on tests. Therefore, the strategies that need to address in order to meet the needs of students with this kind of disability are teach students strength and provide needed modification. There are some accommodation include teachers should teach students specific techniques for organizing their tasks and materials. Give step-by-step instructions and repeat when necessary. Use visual like charts, color coding, and pictures, and create outlines for note-taking that organize the information as you delivered it. Next is emotional disturb. Children have an ability to learn that cannot be explained by intellectual, sensory, or health factors. They may have a tendency to display inappropriate behavior or feelings in response to normal situations. A pervasive mood of unhappiness or depression. May be inclined to develop negative physical symptoms or fears related to personal or school problems over a long period of time and to a marked degree that adversely affect a child's educational performance. Therefore, the strategies that need to address with this kind of disability should provide emotional and behavioral support such as developing their social skills, increasing self-awareness and self-control, help students struggle in activities, foster self-esteem, and rewards their positive behavior. Next is speech-language impairment, means communication disorder such as stuttering, impaired articulation, a language impairment, or a voice impairment that adversely affect a child's educational performance. The strategies that may address with this kind of disability are teachers should consult and work first in the speech-language pathologies regular so that they will be able to know how to handle children with this disability. Use active listening, reinforce communication attempts, example gestures, partial verbalizations when the student is non-verbal or emerging verbal. Have easy and good interactive communication in classroom and be patient when students is speaking, since rushing may result in frustration. Moving on to traumatic brain. This category is a sudden injury that causes damage to the brain by an external physical force resulting in total or functional disability. Thus, it may trouble in students, have memory difficulties, behavioral problems, and serious anxiety attacks. The strategies that may address in this kind of disability are take instruction clearly and go over each step to make sure that the student understands instructions, paraphrase information to help with recall, and provide ample time for task completion. Students with traumatic brain injuries often need extra time to process information and complete tasks as well as to respond to verbal cues and instructor questions. Next is orthopedic impairment. According to IDEA or Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and it is defined as a bone, joint, or muscle-related disability that is so severe that it negatively affects a child's educational performance. The strategies that may address this are accordingly with accommodation which regard with this disability. First is behavioral teachers in all subject areas should be aware of the impact of an orthopedic disability on a student's behavior in class. Sitting, seating arrangements to develop useful postures and movements. And technology. They may also need assistive technology devices to help them communicate or lessons that address their disability, such as those that will help them improve their growth and fine motor skills. Next is visual impairment. It's a term experts use to describe any kind of vision loss, whether it's someone who cannot see at all or someone who has a partial vision loss that negatively affects child's educational performance. The strategies that may address in students with this kind of disability are encourage the student to use visual aids, resources that have been prescribed, example glasses, magnifiers, big prints, books, etc. Make sure lighting is suitable and give clear instructions, as the students may misinterpret gestures and facial expression. Next is multiple disabilities. This category is simultaneous impairments such as intellectual disability, blindness, intellectual disability, orthopedic impairment, etc. that affect learning or other important life functions. Therefore, the strategies that may address in this kind of disability, teachers should utilize assistive technology, monitor behavior, includes hands-on learning and active participation. Moving on, hearing impairment. Students have difficulties in grammar, vocabulary, participating, and listening to lectures. Thus, the strategies that may address are use sign language, provide note takers. Students who are hearing impaired or deaf may have either a note taker or a sign interpreter in the classroom to assist their learning. Provide assistive technology and seating arrangement. When a student who is hard or hearing or deaf is placed within a general education classroom, seating arrangements are crucial. And last is autism. It's a developmental disability that can impact a person's social skills, communication, relationships, and self-regulation. The strategies that need to address with the students with have kind of disability are use visuals. Using pictures and modeling will mean more to students with autism than a lengthy explanation. Be predictable. Having predictably in classroom eases anxiety of students with autism and will help avoid distraction and give direct and clear instruction, and especially have patience. Knowing and addressing these 14 categories about students with disabilities under Individuals with Disabilities Educational Act or IDEA, there are various disabilities that adversely affect their learning and school performance. But thanks to this law that supports special education and related service programming for children and youth with disabilities, ensures that all children with unidentified disability receive special education and related services to address their individual needs. Upon knowing these 14 categories, I came to realize that the most strategies and accommodation that may address is patience and willingness. That would be all. Thank you.